Adam. I've been hearing a lot about the punishment for apostasy, which means the punishment of leaving the faith of Islam, and I'm confused. Does Islam really uphold this idea?
Omar, that's one of the biggest lies spread about Islam. The belief that Islam prescribes punishment for leaving the faith doesn't come from the Quran. It comes from Hadith, which are reports that supposedly record what the Prophet Muhammad said and did. But here's the issue. Hadiths are filled with contradictions, fabrications, and even lies. In fact, Hadith does not truly represent what the Prophet Muhammad said. We will have a separate video dedicated to this issue, which is by far the biggest lie about Islam.
Lies? What do you mean?
The Hadith were collected many years after the Prophet's death, and during that time, many people added their own ideas and interpretations. Some of these directly contradict the Quran, the very words of Allah. The Quran is perfect and complete, and no human word, not even from a prophet, can override what Allah has revealed.
So there's no punishment for apostasy in the Quran?
None whatsoever. Allah consistently upholds freedom of belief in the Quran. For example, in Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 256, Allah says, "Let there be no compulsion in religion." And in Surah Al-Kahf, chapter 18, verse 29, He says, "The truth is from your Lord. So whoever wills, let him believe, and whoever wills, let him disbelieve." These verses make it clear that faith is a personal choice, and no one should be forced to believe or punished for disbelief. There are tens of more verses that imply the same idea. Look for them in the Quran yourself.
But some people might argue that allowing people to leave Islam without consequence could weaken the faith.
That's a common misunderstanding. When you force people to stay in Islam out of fear of punishment, you're not building genuine faith. You're creating false Muslims and hypocrites, people who pretend to believe just to avoid punishment. Allah warns us about hypocrisy in the Quran. In Surah An-Nisa chapter 4, verses 142, 143, Allah says that hypocrites seek to deceive Allah, but He will deceive them. And when they stand for prayer, they stand lazily, only to be seen by people, and they remember Allah but little. Faith should come from free will, not fear of human punishment.
So the Quran allows freedom of belief even leaving Islam?
Exactly. The Quran is very clear on this. In Surah Ash-Shura, chapter 42, verse 48, Allah says, "But if they turn away, we have not sent you as a guardian over them. Your duty is only to deliver the message." And in Surah Al-Hajj, chapter 22, verse 69, Allah says, "And it is for Allah to judge between them on the day of resurrection." These verses emphasize that only Allah can judge a person's faith, and there's no punishment in this life for leaving Islam.
That makes sense. After all, faith in Allah should come from free will, not fear. Otherwise, you're just creating false believers and hypocrites.
Exactly. And here's the bigger issue. This false belief in the punishment for apostasy is one of the root causes of the violence we see among militant groups today. These groups believe they're defending Islam by killing other Muslims over apostasy. But in reality, they're following a dangerous teaching from Hadith, not the Quran. This belief has led to Muslims killing Muslims, all in the name of a false interpretation of Islam.
So, this belief in apostasy punishment is fueling some of the violence we see today.
Yes, it is. And that's why it's so important to return to the Quran, the word of Allah, not man-made books filled with contradictions. In the Quran, Allah gives everyone the freedom to believe or disbelieve, and He will judge us on the day of judgment, not us. That's the beauty of Islam as revealed in the Quran.
So, we really need to be careful about following man-made sources that contradict the Quran.
Exactly, Omar. The Quran is perfect, and it guarantees freedom of belief. Punishing people for leaving Islam is un-Islamic and has caused so much unnecessary bloodshed. Our job is to follow the clear guidance of Allah, not man-made fabrications that have misled people for centuries.
I think a lot of Muslims will find peace in this, Adam. Forcing belief through fear only leads to more problems, both spiritually and in society.
Absolutely, Omar. And that's why we're here, to show people the real Islam directly from the Quran. For more, join us on this journey as we explore the truth, verse by verse.
Thanks, Adam. I hope more Muslims start to realize that the Quran guarantees their freedom of belief.
That's our mission, Omar, to remind Muslims that Islam is about choice, not fear. Let's return to the Quran, where Allah's message is pure and clear.
Thank you for watching. We're excited to start this journey with you.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you can start learning more about Islam directly from the Quran.